You are listening to KSG podcast. This is a short, crisp, concise, exam-oriented, edited editorial for civil services aspirants. In this podcast, we are going to talk about Supreme Court's Kihoto Hollohan judgment. Source for the content is the Indian Express. As the political battle in Maharashtra moves to the Supreme Court, the role and powers of the Deputy Speaker are in focus. On the 27th of June 2022, the top court gave the 16 rebel Shiv Sena MLAs until 12th of July 2022 to respond to the disqualification notice issued by the Deputy Speaker. Among other things, the petition had challenged the short time, 48 hours, given to the rebel MLAs to respond. In the context of the crisis, references have been made to the landmark judgment in Kihoto Hollohan versus Zachillhu And Others 1992, in which the Supreme Court upheld the sweeping discretion available to the Speaker in deciding cases of disqualification of MLAs. However, as rebel leader Eknath Shinde's petition before the court has argued, in Kihoto Hollohan, the Supreme Court held that the Speaker or Deputy Speaker, while deciding disqualification petition under the 10th schedule, as such a tribunal, and therefore it is incumbent upon the Deputy Speaker to afford a reasonable opportunity of hearing and defending his case to the petitioner. Now, what is the Kihoto Hollohan case? The law covering the disqualification of lawmakers and the powers of the Speaker in deciding such matters became part of the statute book in 1985 when the 10th schedule to the Constitution, commonly known as the Anti-Defection Law, was adopted. A constitutional challenge to the 10th schedule was mounted, which was settled by the apex court in Kihoto Hollohan. The principal question before the Supreme Court in the case was whether the powerful role given to the Speaker violated the doctrine of basic structure, the judicial principle that certain basic features of the Constitution cannot be altered by amendments by Parliament. The Supreme Court laid down the doctrine of basic principle in its landmark judgment in Kesavananda Bharati vs. State of Kerala 1973. Now, what does the 10th schedule of the Constitution say? The 10th schedule, which was inserted in the Constitution by the Constitution 52nd Amendment Act 1985, provides for the disqualification of members of parliament and state legislatures who defect. Paragraph 2 of the schedule says that a member of a house belonging to any political party shall be disqualified from being a member of the house if he has voluntarily given up his membership of such political party, or if he votes or abstains from voting in such house contrary to any direction issued by the political party without obtaining prior permission. And what is the extent of the Speaker's powers under the 10th schedule? Paragraph 6.1 of the 10th schedule describes the Speaker's sweeping discretionary powers. Paragraph 6.1 of the 10th schedule describes the Speaker's sweeping discretionary powers. If any question arises as to whether a member of a house has become subject to disqualification under this schedule, the question shall be referred for the decision of the chairman or, as the case may be, the Speaker of such house, and his decision shall be final. What did the Supreme Court rule in the Kihoto Hollohan? The petitioners in Kihoto Hollohan argued whether it was fair that the Speaker should have such broad powers, given that there is always a reasonable likelihood of bias. The majority judgment, authored by Justices M.N. Venkatachalya and K. Jayachandra Reddy, answered this question in the affirmative. I quote them here. The speakers or chairman hold a pivotal position in the scheme of parliamentary democracy and are guardians of the rights and privileges of the House. They are expected to and do take far-reaching decisions in the parliamentary democracy. Vestiture of power to adjudicate questions under the 10th schedule in them should not be considered exceptional, unquote. They added that the schedule's provisions were salutary and intended to strengthen the fabric of Indian parliamentary democracy by curbing unprincipled and unethical political defections. Now, what about the role of the Deputy Speaker? Article 93 of the Constitution mentions the positions of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of the People in Lok Sabha, and Article 178 contains the corresponding positions for Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of a state. Maharashtra has been without a speaker since February 2021, and Deputy Speaker Narhari Zirwal has been carrying out the responsibilities of the position. Article 95(1) says, while the office of the Speaker is vacant, the duties of the office shall be performed by the Deputy Speaker. In general, the Deputy Speaker has the same powers as the Speaker when presiding over a sitting of the House. All references to the Speaker in the rules are deemed to be references to the Deputy Speaker when he presides. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. To join KSG India courses and to crack the ICE exam, visit ksgindia.com. You can also get a PDF of this podcast on ksgindia.com. Thanks for listening.